Associated with the hacker man meme of Rami Mick, and loosely known for its quiet utility in keeping the modern software ecosystem duct-taped together, the average Linux enjoyer, when not correcting me that it's actually GNU plus Linux, starts their journey in the awareness phase. In this phase, you're basically just a normal human being, until you stare into those mesmerizing penguin eyes, and everything changes. Your life veers off course. But hey, that's a later problem. Maybe you heard about Linux in a college lecture. Maybe it was in the urinal of a sketchy dive bar, when a man in questionable headwear sidled up to the stall next to you and whispered softly into your ear, "I use Arch, by the way." At this point, you know Linux exists. You might even know it has benefits, but you still go home, fire up your spyware of choice, and carry on. Whether it's America or China siphoning your data to train LLMs, it doesn't really matter. You're still vibing in the walled garden of whatever proprietary scop you're into. Worst case scenario? You double down. You embrace this life. Your wife leaves you. You spiral, or, by some divine miracle, you transcend. You become the normie. The normie uses Linux in some functional, sensible way. Maybe you're an engineer whose manager said, "Go do AWS stuff. It'll be a great learning experience." When really, the last funding round flopped and they couldn't afford a real DevOps engineer. Or maybe, my personal favorite, you just think Penguin look cool. Either way, you're probably on Mint or Pop OS, two completely fine distros. You're likely a decent programmer or sysadmin. This is the most rational, grounded place for a Linux user to be. But normie carries such a weird stigma that if you are one, you're probably a little offended right now. And yet, normies have it good. You're not weighed down by the knowledge of how billion-dollar core are hijacking your brain and society as a whole. You live free. Penguin look cool. Terminal look cool. This is the stage I recommend to anyone. Stop here. Exit the simulation. You still have a shot at living a relatively normal life. That is, until you fall into the pipeline phase. Pipeliners are people who went just a bit too far with Linux. And Linux, unfortunately, has many pipelines. Let's start with the classic, the distro hopper. As crazy as it sounds, I was once young. Then I discovered distro hopping. Now I am neither young nor do I enjoy using Linux. Distro hopping is a chronic affliction that usually hits early, somewhere between your first existential crisis and your last functioning hard drive. At first, it feels smart, educational even. Learn different package managers, explore new environments. But the dopamine rush of a fresh install fades quickly, and what's left is a desperate attempt to justify another reinstall by breaking your system in increasingly creative ways. Eventually, the distro hopper realizes a dark truth. Most distros are just Ubuntu or Debian with a different desktop slapped on. But by that point, it's too late. They've burned through 100 distros. They've nitpicked every core utility. And then, they enter the Ricer pipeline. The Ricer is not a user. The Ricer is an artist. Their desktop is the canvas. The terminal? A statement. For most people, an OS is a tool, a means to an end. But for the Ricer, the only end is looking good on r/unixporn. System administration? Gone. Programming? Irrelevant. Touching grass? A distant memory. They've sacrificed it all for II3 gaps, floating terminals, and anime-themed status bars. And honestly, can you blame them? The SOX pipeline. An unexplainable phenomenon. Many users, actually just Arch users, start wearing these socks. No one knows why. It just happens. And finally, the end of the road. User. Gentoo. If you're here, you're not watching this video. You're probably living on a remote farm, feeding your free and open source chickens. Every interaction with technology is accompanied by a firearm. So is every interaction with society. You've got the skills of a senior DevOps engineer, but you won't work for anyone who pays in fiat instead of blockchain coin trademark. This is the final evolution of the Linux user. You've given up, not just on software, but on society itself. You realize the world is fundamentally broken, suboptimal by design, and the only escape? Return to nature or to God. Thank you for your time. I am CodeBlastX.